You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your tech-savvy and talkative host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco.
Rocco, not talkative and not entertaining, and that's why I make everybody suffer through the engineering joke of the week. All right, Rocco, you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
All right. Why did the engineer go to art school?
Why?
Because he thought it would help him with drawing conclusions. Huh? There you go. Got to check out of Rocco. It's a good day. All right, folks. So on today's show, I want to give a little bit of love to the folks who are out in the field, kind of doing the hard work of building our design projects, turning ideas into reality. All while getting sunburned and rained on and frozen half to death. I want to talk about the construction field staff and really how often they seem to get the short shrift when it comes to the technology space. There's still a strong belief out there in the construction world that, field staff, quote unquote, they don't really understand tech. And I don't think that's true at all. Hey, look, I get it, right? There was a time when computers and the internet and tech in general were entirely new to the construction world, right? Folks who'd been working in the trades for decades weren't ready or able to adjust to the huge changes that technology and software was bringing, right? So as an industry, construction was really slow to adopt that big tech, right? We have been lagging for a while. And I think it particularly lagged in the field space because, a lot of your supers and construction managers and PMs, et cetera, they were older people with years of construction experience, but a lot of them had very limited formal educations. So basically they were just left alone to just, do things the way you always have, right? The thing is, though, that I think what most of us forget, that was over a quarter of a century ago. Most of those people have long since retired. I mean, not me and Rocco because we're old as dirt, but most everybody else is retired.
Hey,
okay, Rocco is as old as topsoil. I'm dirt, so it's I like to say most of those folks are gone, right? But I think that the reputation, it's still there, right? And I think a lot of firms still look at their field staff as being tech ignorant. When most of these people have grown up in the digital age and have been living and breathing technology most of their lives. And today I want to talk about changing some of those misconceptions and kind of helping the field people get the tech and the support that they really need. So Rocco, when you're talking with our construction clients, right? Are you starting to see a realization that field people need tech training and support too? Or do you see that many of them are still focused on kind of like, their in-house technology staff?
Yeah, it's a mix. I mean, a lot of people want to go the cheap route, what can I want something cheap for the field staff, what can I get, and it's not always the right way to go. And that's why we're having the conversation. So that's kind of what I hear and see a lot of times.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of I'm still seeing that a lot. I think it's changing. I do. And I applaud the companies who are making that mind shift. But yeah, conversations like this I think are important. So yeah, look, I know that most construction companies have seriously improved their tech capacity, particularly over like the last 5 years or so. But I do think there is still a disconnect between having and effectively supporting your staff on the tech end. Okay. Most companies are using some kind of construction management system, right? Like a Procore or Autodesk Construction Cloud or, Buildertrend, or whichever one, right? And they give their field staff access to those systems. But there is a distinct lack of training and configuration and support for how the people on the front lines are supposed to use those tools. You know, and I see this problem starting at the software marketing and development level, all the way up there, and continuing its way all the way down to the actual job sites. You know, most support and training around construction software is kind of focused on the desktop or the full-blown cloud versions of the system, right? Which you kind of got to be in office to access those. And look, there are a ton of support options for those, right? But when it comes to the mobile apps and the daily functions that field people live and die with, there's usually nothing more than a footnote with kind of oh, here's how you download it. And oh, it's so easy, anybody can use it. Don't worry about it, just go. And that's their approach to training. You know, look, you know, construction people are smart, right? They have to be to make it that far in this industry, right? And they're going to figure out a way to make things work, right? They'll take that app when you slap it on their iPad or their phone, and they'll figure it out, and they'll make something, they'll make do, right? But the issue is that's not always the best way to do it. And it is actually costing you a lot of time and a lot of money on your job, right? It's not that these people are doing anything wrong, but they're busy people. You guys know this. And once somebody figures out a way to get something done, this works, I'm just going to keep doing it that way. Even if there might be a process or a tool, you know, that they missed that could do it in half that time, right? They're not going to go looking for it. They need some formal training on the field side of things, right? Not the desktop version, not the office or the cloud version through a browser. The mobile apps, that's where they have to go to find the best practices they need to optimize their work. So, you know, Rocco, we partner with a lot of different construction software tools here at Zentech, right? And most have apps, right, for the field. But do you think that they get, you know, sufficient attention, right? Either from the developers on the software end or from the construction companies that are actively using them?
Yes-ish. I mean, I think they're starting to pay more attention to it. You know, I think it's taking time, but still the core focus rests with improving the daily office functionality. You know, that's the core of what I'm seeing. I mean, I think even Bluebeam, for example, they're trying to improve on Bluebeam Cloud, but it's got a ways to go for field use in particular. Yeah.
No, I agree. That's exactly what I'm thinking here. So look, you know, I think the term app, right? An app, I think that throws people a bit, right? When something's called an app, they kind of think of it as like, oh, it's just a little silly feature, right? A little tiny thing that requires no training or no setup. It's like that silly, you know, Candy Crush app, right? My mom plays that on her iPad. Nobody needs training on an app. But modern construction apps aren't like that at all, right? These are powerful interfaces that are meant to harness the full power of that desktop cloud software into a mobile-friendly interface. You know, and they've also, I think they've come a long way with most of these apps in terms of configuration and setup. There was a time when apps were just like one and done. You got it. That's what it does. Right. But now they let you kind of, you know, adjust and automate to the way that your people work. Right. And that can save you a lot of time and money when it's configured correctly. Right. You know, the issue, as you guys are no doubt getting by now in my conversation here, is that nobody seems to want to invest in the training and support that field people need to generate those efficiencies, right? Every company wants to talk about, our improved workflows and automation and AI and improved communications, but they always want to start working at the executive levels for those results. Look, this is construction, right? And it is just like building the project you're working on. You have to start at the foundation and go upwards. Doesn't work from the top down, right? you make your field processes run smoothly and efficiently, right? Then, the construction manager in the trailer, his scheduling is going to go smoother, right? Then the office invoicing is going to run without a hitch. And it's just going to go on and on and on upstream, right? And when the field folks can address and communicate issues more effectively, everything else runs better. That's the big takeaway from this conversation. So I tell you what, I'm going to let you guys think on that.
Wait. Before you do that, I gotta bust your chops. So in the office, there's people who pick on Jim for saying I just painted.
Am I hating again?
He just did it twice in a row.
Oh, it's terrible. It's being from North Jersey, right? It's what you say. It's my most horrific verbal tick. I work hard. I'm sorry, folks. I promise. I'll work on it in the second half of the show.
All right.
All right. Let's let you guys think on that for a minute. We get into words from today's sponsor. But when I get back, I do want to talk about some of the ways that we can fix the construction issues along with fixing Jim's eye. All right. Stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. Hey everybody, this is Jim and Rocco with Zentech Consultants, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the training options that we have available here for you guys at Zentech Consultants. We offer public training classes as well as private custom courses for all of your software and design needs. So, Rocco, why don't you tell the folks what kind of training we offer and how do they reach out to us to get it going for them?
Yeah, Jim, we cover everything from Bluebeam to Autodesk to Microsoft to BricsCAD to civil site design training and beginner through to advanced level topics. Like you said, both public and private courses. If you got a group and want to run a class specifically for your team, we can help you. So just feel free to hit our website. We're at zentechconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK, or you can give us a ring, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
There you go, Zentech Consultants for all of your technology training need. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cattle Call. Oh, look, I missed my cow sound, Rocco. Try that again. Welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast, right? Oh, I got to work with this guy. Do you believe the suffering that I go through, people? All right, we're talking about supporting your construction field people with the technology, training, and the support that they need to get their work done as efficiently as possible. In the first half, we talked about why people struggle internally to make these commitments and why I think it's important that they do. And in this half of the show, I want to talk about some of the best practices that we've kind of seen and deployed here at Zentech to kind of address these issues. I also want to get into a little bit more detail on the idea of, field-specific software training and why everybody should be looking into it, right? So, when it comes to the field staff getting the training and the support that they need, right, this field-specific training, I think the first thing you have to do is make sure that they have access to the right tools. I've seen a lot of companies out there kind of make the mistake of purchasing their hardware based entirely upon cost and never actually having a conversation or discussing with the field people, what are they going to be using this hardware for, and what programs will they be using, and where and when and how. And look, I get it. I do. I'm a small business owner. It sounds great to buy, I got half price tablets that I bought on sale from Joe's Electronics Shop. But will that tablet hold up in the crappy weather? And more importantly, will it be able to run the mobile apps that your people actually need? Right? This is a huge issue, for construction people using Bluebeam, as a matter of fact, right? One of the biggest products out there for the construction space. This is a huge problem for them. So, Rocco, why don't you, when it comes to Bluebeam, right? What do people need to be aware of when they're deciding if they should buy an iPad versus an Android tablet, or an Android or an iPad phone or a Google phone, and and more important, is it going to be the same equipment choice for the people in the office as it is for the people in the field?
Yeah, we were talking about this just before we recorded the podcast here, and it's funny that it's kind of the opposite for the field as it is for the office. But unfortunately, Bluebeam only offers for field use. It only runs on the iPad. They're starting to get into making it accessible outside the iPad for iOS devices and so on, but Android devices, but not just yet. And when it comes to Office use, Bluebeam does not run on a Mac. I probably get inquiries from people probably once a month. Hey, does Bluebeam work on the Mac? And unfortunately, it does not. So you got to stick with the desktops.
Yeah.
Or your laptop, right?
Yep.
I mean,
yep. And that's what I mean, right? Just going out and grabbing what's cheap and what's low end, thinking it'll work, that can seriously bite you. And I've seen that happen, right? When it comes to field and office people, they have very different needs, right? And even a huge software like Bluebeam, it's going to require very different interfaces and apps for each of those groups to work effectively. This is one of those cases where kind of letting the IT guy buy in bulk, it's going to end up costing you more money than you can possibly save. And I think the other big area that I see field staff struggle with all the time it's with the lack of training, right? And we touched a little bit about this in the first half, right? Because apps are, a lot of times people think of them as these, one-off or, low use type of investments. Companies really tend to ignore training their people on how to use the apps, right? Look, an app generally it can range anywhere from a completely free app for some software, right, to like $10, $15. They're cheap, right? So the idea of spending a couple $100s to train someone on how to use an app sounds completely ridiculous to some folks. Why would we pay more for training than I actually paid for the tool? And I think the problem here it's something that I call commodity think. People tend to see apps like a commodity, right? Just like a television, right? You buy it, you use it, and you're certainly not going to pay somebody to show you how to use the remote. Well, here's the thing, right? Tech apps aren't a commodity though, right? They're actually the key interface for every billable dollar that you're trying to collect from your job. And if your people don't know how to use those apps effectively, you're going to lose tens of thousands of dollars on each job. So, I tell you, think of it like this, right? The United States Army, right? Think of it the way they think of a weapon. The Army can go out, right? And they can buy an M4 for a couple $100. Sure, not a problem. Cheap, easy. Point, pull trigger, done. Yeah. So then why do they spend tens of thousands of dollars training soldiers, right? Over the course of a 16-week basic training, they spend thousands teaching them the correct way to use that M4. Why? Because the weapon isn't what they want. It's the performance they get out of the person using that weapon that they're investing in, right? Look, and also you need to consider there's the potential damage that can be caused if that weapon is misused, and you need to prevent it against that. Same exact thing when you're deploying your construction apps to your field staff. It's half the time not even what they don't, what they do know, it's what they don't know that can really, really hurt you. So things to consider. So Rocco, what do you think? I mean, are construction firms beginning to realize the need for field training, right? And to kind of go with that, right? What kind of courses do we offer? And what are we focused on in the summertime here as we're moving into it to help them kind of in real time with the training?
Yeah, they're slowly, realizing the need. Unfortunately, we're honest here, right? I mean, we're not gangbusters with everybody calling looking to train their field staff, and again, that's why we're talking about this here. So, but yeah, for field staff, we do offer a Bluebeam for iPad users course. On the Procore end, we have a Procore for field staff course that's coming up, and these are live classes that we're doing here this summer. They're broken out over 4 weeks, broken out into 2-hour sessions once a week. And if you're if the guys should miss a session for any reason, or if they want to go back and review the content, we provide access to the recording. So yeah, hit up our website, check out the details, or reach out to us. Be happy to set up a custom class for you guys.
Yep, absolutely. Get them the training they need while they're in the field when they can address the problems before they really bite us all. But look, here's what I will say about training. It's really only the first part of this conversation. Support of the people that you have on site to address problems and questions and general operational processes, I guess, with these apps, it's just as vital as the training. Look, the truth is we all need help sometimes. I mean, if you're Rocco, you need help all the time. That's why I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. So, look, I don't care how well-trained people are. Everybody's going to need help at some point, right? Something that you've done a dozen times, it suddenly doesn't work, or some unusual event is happening that you've never had to track or report on before on site, and you don't know how to handle that in the system. Right? And the answers that people get is, well, Google it, or go ask somebody. Somebody will know. Right? To see who else in the company might have an idea. That can cost you crazy amounts of time and money. I think it's vital that you contract with a knowledgeable tech consultant who offers real-time support contracts to address your field problems as they happen, right? And to help people configure their apps as they need to be configured for the specific type of work that your company does. I'll also say this, and yes, this is a totally biased opinion, right? Because it comes from my business stance here. You don't want to depend on the software developer or a software reseller for that kind of support. Those are people who are focused on the big sales. They want to sell more Office, more desktop items, right? And they are very good about knowing how their software works, but they have no idea how you work in the field, right? Most of these people can't tell the difference between a hammer and a front loader. You need to engage with someone who can support your field people, right? That has an actual solid understanding of the design build process. And that's what leads me into doing the sales plug for today, right? For Zentech. So Rocco, what options do we have available for people in that on-demand support arena?
Yeah, there's a lot of options. I mean, whether it be training or consulting services, a lot of times we recommend our tech blocks that are prepaid support hours that customers could use towards our services. We offer on-demand classes or live in person, live online classes like I mentioned earlier. And if you really want to engage in a longer contract, we can certainly put together a full statement of work and work with you real long term and really get you guys up and running. So at all levels, depending upon your budget and your interests. So definitely reach out to us.
There you go. See, I'm good. I try to put in sales plugs for Rocco once in a while so he doesn't fall asleep listening to me say "I" all day.
Well, thank you.
There you go. All right, folks. And with that, we're going to let you all get back to your busy days and go out and start talking to your field staff about all the tools and the support that they really need so they can make you guys all kinds of money. And we're out of here. We'll catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.